goes to them, and hopefully, I'm sure Anthony's got this covered from pillar to post here on ysnlive.com. You continue seeing stories here on the network. Hopefully, we can get some interviews as they come along. But I know you're waiting for. I know what you're waiting for, and you don't have to wait any longer. Ladies and gentlemen, this time we bring in one of the newest members of the YSN roster, a guy that we are incredibly excited for. Ladies and gentlemen, the pride of Trumbull County, Mr. Sam Bellino. What's up, Sammy?
Not much, man. Thank you for having me today.
It's an absolute pleasure. And the thing that I love about you most is not only your energy, your spirit, your knowledge, your determination, but the fact that you actually want to come in here and help bring a sense of heroic belonging to these youth sports, high school sports, regional sports, whatever it may be. Your hand is firmly in the pile. Let's start with this. What got you started in sports? Obviously, you've got a decorated past in it, and a decorated present, as a matter of fact. What got you started in sports, and what keeps you ticking in it?
I grew up in a big family, a lot of older cousins, male and female, that all played sports. I had my oldest cousin, female cousin, was a superstar in basketball. So, I'm 7, 8 years old and I'm going to the basketball games. My sister played basketball, softball. I was just always out in the fields and on the courts. And like I said, just going and watching all my older cousins play, and then getting into these sports as a young kid too. I played soccer when I was real little for a few years, and then wanted to try out football. I got into football when I was 7 and just fell in love with it right away. Our HLE, Hubbard Little Eagles teams, when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, we won a lot of football games. I tasted success early in my football career. I think we won, and I'm not exaggerating, I think we won like 48 straight games in Little Eagles. We won 4 straight Super Bowls. It was pretty amazing. Going to basketball camps in Hubbard, Bernie Tarr ran a lot of basketball camps when I was a young guy, going to their basketball camps. Little League baseball was the best time of my life, even though I didn't play high school baseball. But I just fell in love with sports. And throughout my high school career, I had some pretty tragic injuries, an ACL, a Jones fracture that ended a few of my seasons as a high school athlete. So although I thought about and talked with my family and friends about playing collegiately football, I decided for my health, it probably wasn't best for me. So what was the next step, or the next way to stay in sports? And that was to get into coaching. So, after I graduated high school, I got into coaching. Actually, my first gig was 8th grade basketball at Hubbard. And then I got into the football field with Coach Hoffman at Hubbard. Did some middle school years at Hubbard, and was doing football at Hubbard. Finally got the call up to do varsity football at Hubbard and kind of step back with basketball. And then, I just kind of stuck with football there and fell in love with being a coach and building relationships with kids and adults alike. And that's kind of the short of it when it comes to falling in love with sports.
Hubbard's a special place. I mean, no matter which way you slice it, I mean, there is a hunger, a thirst for not only Hubbard sports to be played, but Hubbard sports to constantly be competitive and to win, walk away with the trophy, so to speak. So for you kind of built some of that up along the way. You mentioned, you played all these different sports. You are one of the biggest competitors I have ever seen, I've ever met. And the expectation you have for yourself and the people around you, certainly higher than most. Why is that? What was it that really drove you to being competitive and the winning spirit?
I don't know. I can't just put my finger on one thing. But as a kid growing up, everything I did with my group of friends, everything was competitive. We rode bikes, we'd make a competition out of it. We'd go to the park and play baseball, just make games up and just compete in things. And even to this day, playing, group of buddies of mine, not recently, but because of course I rolled my ankle, so I couldn't get into the gym this past winter. But a group of us would go on Sunday mornings and play basketball, and it's competitive. It's not just showing up and just shooting the ball around and one-on-one basketball and standing around. It's competitive, guys. D each other up, and you get a good sweat in. I played I play Sunday softball. It's competitive for me. It's cliche to say, but like I don't like to lose. I hate losing. It's a bitter feeling, that bitter taste in your mouth. But everything I've done since I was a little kid is just always a competition. Everything was a competition.
So do you like winning more, or you hate losing more?
I love to win. I love to win. I love to win. At Hubbard, I won a lot of football games as a player and as a coach. I was a small piece of a lot of the success that we've had at Hubbard. And I kind of went my own way as a coach at Lakeview and went through the trials and tribulations of losing at Lakeview. And that kind of builds your character a little bit. You learn a little bit more about yourself when you go through those things. But I love winning. There's nothing like winning. And again, the cute answer is I hate losing more than I love winning, but I love to win. I love to win.
You spent the majority of your time around kids, students, athletes, student athletes, all that. As a teacher, as a coach, what is one of the most challenging things that you found about your personality, your kind of the way that you coach, the way that you lead, that you've had to kind of change about yourself? You mentioned the adversity that you've faced with injuries and things of that nature. What has been one of the things, from your leadership perspective, that you've had to kind of corral and tweak?
I think it's that I'm not everybody's taste, I guess you could say. Yeah, not everybody's cup of tea. Because I am an adult, but I can be, I'm still a kid at heart.
Sure.
So, you learn how to relate to kids, and you learn how to motivate them. And there's no right answer. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. But, when you're around some of the, older generation or some other guys that feel differently about that and feel like there's only one way to motivate, and it's to put guys on the line and make them run, there's some conflict there. And, as a young coach that didn't have control over a lot of stuff as an assistant, I struggled with that a little bit, and I was young and dumb. And I've had conversations with some of the guys that I was around, and I apologize for being the way that I was as a young guy. But, when you do have control and you're able to do things your way, it's a double-edged sword because, your name's on it as the head coach. So, you're the way you're doing things. If you're winning, the kids get the praise, but if you're losing, you're the reason why they're losing, not the assistant coaches. Not that I'm not trying to place blame on anybody.
No,
but
absolutely
you
not.
take the brunt of it.
Yep.
And that signing up, but so yeah, I guess it's just kind of tailoring the way you are, not just to the kids, but to the adults you're around too.
And you've got, quite the history in coaching. You've pretty much done it all at this point. And now you step away. You look at what you're looking to do. And from a coaching perspective, we love coaches. We love sports in general, but we understand leaders come from all different shapes and sizes of organizations and makeups. You and I have a conversation, I want to say a year ago-ish. And you said, listen, I love what you do here. I want to be in on it. How do I get involved? And that spoke to me from a standpoint of, okay, we've got another leader. We've got another guy that wants to get involved and wants to educate people. One of the things that I think you bring to the table, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is a little bit higher education of the game of football, in the sports of all kinds. You and I are going to be teaming up in the booth, which is breaking news here on YSN, and I'm excited for. What are you most looking forward to? What scares you about jumping on the microphone for the first time during a broadcast?
What scares me? I haven't done it before, so
Naturally.
I'm green behind the ears when it comes to being in a booth. And kind of going back to what I was just talking about is I'm not going to be out there trying to impress anybody. I'm going to be myself and bring the knowledge of the game that I have to the audience. But maybe I won't be everybody's cup of tea. Maybe I'll have too much energy. Maybe I won't have enough energy. Maybe I'll speak a language that people don't understand. Maybe I'll be too bland. I'm going to be myself, and I'll walk out of that booth every Friday night, happy with being myself and content. But, I hope that when we go through this experience together, that people appreciate that, I'm not going to sit in front of this camera and try to be somebody that I'm not.
Yeah.
There's a million other coaches in this area and in this world that have forgotten a lot more than I know in the game of football. But I'm hoping I can bring, a little bit of knowledge to your casual viewers of a little bit more X's and O's and behind the scenes stuff as, when it comes to Friday nights and what some of these people don't see Saturday through Thursday.
What was your strength as a coach?
I think my strength was I was able to build relationships with these kids with ease on my end.
Gotcha.
I feel like I had a type of a motivation that, again, I wasn't a scary coach. I wasn't I'm going to yell at you and get down your throat and grab your face mask. I can relate and motivate them in ways that I can't really explain right now, but I was able to get to their level and speak to them in terms that they understood. And when they know that you care about them as individuals, they'll want to go out there and compete and do their best for you as a coach.
Is it going to be challenging for you to get excited about a team in burgundy and gold rather than blue and silver?
No, you know what? I have a lot of respect for South Range and what they've done, not just in the past 2 years, past 20 years. When I played high school football, I can't think of the kid's name now, but they had a really good running back. And again, I'm not, by any means an old head. I played in 06 through 08, but there was no social media then. So you couldn't really keep track of teams outside of your orbit, Girard, Liberty, Lakeview. So South Range was kind of a little bit further out there from Hubbard, but I can't remember the kid's name. I think he ended up going to YSU and playing football at YSU. He was a running back, set records in the 2000s at South Range, but I digress a little bit. I've got a ton of respect for Coach Yeagley and what he's built at South Range and Coach Rock.
Yep.
I know a little bit. I've had a couple conversations with him. I think he did a tremendous job last year, and it's not easy filling the shoes of a legend like Coach Yeagley, but they had a ton of success last year, and I know he's just building on what Coach Yeagley did for the past, however many years he was here.
We're here with Sam Bellino, the newest member of the YSN family, one that you're going to hear his voice a lot during the days, during the evenings on YSN. A lot of knowledge, a lot of know-how, and just a lot of tread has left the tire, but there's still a lot left. Sam, when you're thinking about, well, first off, you are related to a lot of potential, really influential people here on the YSN family. One guy you know pretty well, Brian Tolnar, who speaks so highly, calls you Sammy B all the time. For you to have those connections and be so influential in those, in that family, nonetheless. What's that like for you? What's a Christmas like with that family involved that just continues to give?
Yeah, it's awesome. Brian is a great guy. His family, I married into his family.
Yeah.
It's a great family. It feels more like a 1B family than it does a second family. They make you feel right at home. But going to Thanksgiving, going to Christmas with Brian and those guys, and sitting down and just chatting it up. And it's not just golf with Brian.
Yeah. He loves it.
He loves everything. He talks, Cavs basketball, football. He's a huge Purdue guy. Football, college basketball, Purdue. So, marrying into this family and being a coach and building relationships with hundreds of coaches that I have in this area.
Yeah.
You can't put a price on it. I could pick up my phone and call anybody to get information from.
You did earlier. I saw it.
Yeah,
I witnessed
it about an hour ago. I got on the phone, but it's invaluable. But I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful that I can call a lot of these guys my friends. And again, that they would pick up the phone if I called just to chat it up with these guys.
For you, you talked about YSN at length and why you believe in it. And I'm not trying to shoot a promo here, but it's one of those things like everybody believes in YSN and likes YSN for different reasons, dislikes us for different reasons. What was it for you that really caught your attention and said, hey, I think I could be a part of this?
I think it's similar to when I go back to thinking about why I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to impact the youth. I wanted to be able to spend time around kids and be a positive influence on them. So when I see what you guys do for the student athletes of the area, that's the bottom line for me. It's not, and obviously I don't know how to explain this without being a jerk about it, but I'm not so worried about the teams.
Yeah.
I think what you guys do for the student athletes is tremendous. And I think what you guys have down the pipeline here for the student athletes is going to be amazing for the area. I I just think that, with the streaming services and where streaming's at right now, where it's headed, um, it's untapped potential for highlighting student athletes. And it doesn't have to be your Division I athlete. It doesn't have to be your guys that are already getting the publications that, they deserve rightfully, but
Sure.
it's the Tommies and the Susies that might not get the recognition that they deserve. So I'm really, really excited about what you guys do with the student athletes.
Everybody talks about the role models. We'll get to that in a little bit, but everybody has the idea, right? You go back to kindergarten, and what do you want to be when you grow up? What was that, little Sammy? What did little Sammy want to do? What did he want to be when he grew up? What were the ambitions?
Yeah, the first job I ever wanted to have was I wanted to be a barber.
Really?
I wanted to cut hair. I don't know why.
Awesome.
I don't know why, but I just can remember wanting to be a barber. But when I got into sports, as a young kid, baseball was my thing, and I loved Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay.
He's my guy now. He's my guy then. The kid. Yeah, I have my son is a junior, and I call him the kid.
I love it.
Yeah. So, I didn't want to say like, hey, I wanted to go to the NBA, I wanted to be an MLB, I wanted to be in the NFL. Not that people shot down my dreams, but I was a little bit ahead of the curve when it came to knowledge of that kind of
realistic
kind of
expectation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't want to ever get my hopes up and be like, hey, I'm Ohio State or bust. So it's just one of those things where you enjoyed your time when you were in it, and whatever came my way, afterwards, I made the most of.
All right, you mentioned Junior. Let's talk about the family. What do you got at home? Who keeps you going?
Yeah, so my wife Maggie, we're coming up on our 6-year anniversary.
Congratulations!
Thank you. We've been together it'll be 12 years. So we had a lot of time by ourselves before we got married and had kids. Our first daughter, Olive, was born in December of 21.
Wow.
She'll be 3 this year. And we just celebrated my son Sammy's first birthday in July.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and like I've said, I have a million cousins.
Yeah.
Who all have a million kids now. So it's hard to keep track of all their kids and their names, but they're all into sports and everything now. So it's cool watching some of my cousins who I've watched growing up playing football. Now their kids are getting into it. And when I was coaching at Lakeview, I held youth camps, and a lot of my family members from Hubbard would send their kids to my youth camps at Lakeview. So it was fun to be a part of, their youth a little bit too. So I've always been a huge family guy. I've had a big family. My wife has a big family. We talked about Brian and Preston. But yeah, so that's what I got going on back at home.
So for you, what was it like growing up? I mean, obviously you were into sports, your family into sports as well, or was it just kind of your thing?
Yeah, no, my whole family, my older sister was a two sport athlete. She was basketball and softball, and she was like 8 years older than me. So when she was going through high school and playing sports, I was 8, 9, 10. And again, I'd go when she was playing softball, I'd go to the park and I wouldn't watch a pitch. I'd be out playing ball with the other little brothers and sisters that were there. But I was one of the younger cousins. So Friday nights I'd go to Hubbard football games and watch my older cousins play football. I got to watch Anthony Smith and Sean Lane and those guys play back in the early 2000s. So I saw some pretty good Hubbard football teams because, my cousins played on those teams. But yeah, it's always been sports. It's always going to be sports, even though, this is a different avenue than what I'm used to, but I'm excited about it.
So we talk about heroes and what motivated you a lot. Who were those heroes? I mean, on the field, off the field, who were those people that kept you going? You mentioned Junior Griffey, obviously. What do you think when you everybody talks about, hey, this is my favorite superhero. This is who is it the personality? Is it the leadership? Is it the weapons? Is it the utility? What is it that draws you to a person or an athlete or a superhero?
I think it's the way they treat people.
Okay.
I can remember watching Ken Griffey Jr. in the home run derby. And
94.
I don't know what year it was.
It's Pittsburgh.
Hat backwards. Yep. And they've always had those little kids that would come and bring Gatorades to the kids. And you have some athletes who would pay no attention to those kids and just take the Gatorade and kind of shrug them off. But Ken Griffey Jr. was like always playing around with the kids and interacting with the kids. I'm a big person. I'm a big people person,
Yeah.
and how people treat other people. And I think if you're a good person, you and I are going to get along. And I look up to you. Speaking of heroes, my dad was one who got me into sports as a young kid, took me to and from practice, as my mom stayed home and did the mom things with, making dinner and making sure there was food on the plate when I got home from practice. And above my dad was his dad, my grandpa, who would not only come to every game of mine, he would come to every practice.
Oh, wow.
And he would go to all of my cousins who weren't even his family. He would go to all of my cousins' games. He was at every single game. It was unbelievable. I don't know how he did it. It was almost like he was living in a day that had 48 hours and not 24.
Oh,
he was everywhere. He was everywhere. He passed away when I was 13 back in 2003. I remember that day specifically when he passed. It took a little bite out of me.
Sure.
But my dad is now carrying that torch of going to all his nieces or his grandkids' games and all his nieces and nephews' kids' games and practices. And my dad is just like my grandpa was. He's everywhere. He loves being at the fields and on the courts, and just the biggest supporter of his people.
I love that. And I know obviously you're getting a little emotional, which is awesome. We love that from a standpoint of that's how you impacted somebody. All right, so let's take it a little bit more of a lighter note. Food wise, I mean, we're talking about sports. We got to talk about food. That's how this goes. What's the go-to meal for you? I mean, is it something that your wife makes? Is it mom's cooking? What is it?
I'm a big pizza guy.
Okay, here we go.
I'm a big pizza guy. I love pizza. And Hubbard is like the honey hole of pizza.
Okay.
Even though I don't live in Hubbard anymore.
Where is home, by the way?
Home is Hubbard.
Okay.
Home now is not Hubbard. Home now is kind of tricky. It's Liberty Township, but Girard. Yeah, it's I don't know.
Trumbull County.
Yeah, just pay my bills. Some say Liberty, some say Girard. I don't know. But yeah, Hubbard is home. And I'm telling you, there's I don't know how, but there's 10 thriving pizza places in Hubbard that succeed somehow, some way, and a lot of them are holes in the wall that you can go and get mom's old recipe. And you got Belleria. Coca's Pizza's close.
Yep.
Pizza Works is down there.
I've never had Pizza Works.
Pizza Works is good, man. It's a good change up. I think there's only 3 locations: Howland, Hubbard. I forget where the other one is.
Is it a Trumbull County thing?
I think it's a Trumbull County thing. You got your Pizza Joe's, Domino's kind of things, but I like to support the local.
Domino's. We went on a trip to Dallas, Texas, and we were looking for pizza. Which in Dallas, Texas, folks, we are all blessed here in the Mahoning Valley with pizza. And somebody pulled it up on their phone and they said, "Oh, there's a Domino's Pizza. It sounds local." I said, "Domino's." Domino's. But that's awesome. I mean, pizza. I mean, is it just cheese, pepperoni, or are you loaded up guy?
I like to give pizza a chance. All kinds. I'm not.
Okay.
I like to give all kinds of pizza a chance. White sauce, red sauce.
Okay.
I'll do some of your people here might get mad at me. I do the Hawaiian every once in a while.
Oh, I love Hawaiian pizza.
I love peppers. I'll do the meats, sausage.
Do you do like
pepperoni?
What is it, margarita pizza? Do you ever do margarita?
I have,
okay.
Yeah, and I will never turn it down.
Yeah,
but it probably wouldn't be my first.
It's not your first draft pick.
It's too thin.
Okay.
I need some more substance.
You like thick pizza?
I do.
Okay.
But at the same time, there's a place in Hubbard that has a thin pizza, but their slices are huge.
Have you had Chicago pizza, like actual?
Yeah, my buddy lived in Chicago for a little while. We went and got deep dish in Chicago. Yeah, I mean it's
like lasagna.
Yeah,
it's so good.
You have to eat. Well, you don't have to, but my buddy's eating it with a fork, and I'm like, you don't eat pizza with a fork,
dude. It's monster size.
Yeah.
All right. So, what's the favorite thing that your wife makes? We got to give her some shout out here, Maggie, right?
Yeah, Maggie. Yeah, Maggie. She likes to make taco dishes. She likes to make dishes. She grounds some beef up and makes some taco dishes. Let's see what else is. You're with 2 young kids. It's
chicken nuggies.
Dino nuggies. Yeah, the chicken sticks. But she tries her best to have food, to do her own thing. When we have time. But yeah, when she gets that beef out and she starts grounding the beef, and I know it's taco night.
Taco night. What is more challenging? All right, because I learned this the hard way. Is it being a dad and having to put those hours in from a standpoint. Because listen, every dad's going to tell you they love those hours, but I feel like you're the same way as me. Is it's zonking out because you're just burned on energy. Is it being a dad more challenging than being a coach during a playoff hunt?
Being a dad is probably the hardest job I've had. It really is. Every day is a different challenge. And I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. My wife is a nurse, so there's times where she works 12 hours and back-to-back days. And I got two little ones at home under 3. And you're right. At the end of those days, it's exhausting. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. My 2 little ones are the best things that's ever happened to me. And don't get me wrong. There's been some playoff hunts that have been been pretty grueling on us at Hubbard. One specifically when we had our good run back in, I think, 14 and 15 or 13-14 with, LJ Scott, George Hill, Matt Jones, Tyler Tafe, running into St. V's for a few years back to back then was difficult.
All right, for you, kind of close this off, what can people expect on Friday nights from you to hear? I mean, excitement, is it knowledge? Is it what is it going to be that you're going to kind of hang your hat on, not as a coach for the first time in a long while, but as a broadcaster for the first time?
Again, I don't know what to expect. I'm going to go and be myself. They can expect me to be me. They're never going to question, is this guy real? Is he fake? I'm going to be me. I'm going to talk about the stuff that I know. And again, there's a million people out there that know more than me. I'm never going to, patronize anybody with their knowledge of the game, including you.
Yeah, you're going to find out quick, buddy.
But yeah, like I said, I just hope to bring a different angle to the booth and to the audience at home. And maybe they'll start to respect the grind that it takes to be a student athlete and to be a coach, and the time it takes away from your family, the hours you have to put in. Again, because you're not just showing up on Friday night looking at your sheet and saying, hey, let's run this play, and it's not successful. And, Tommy's dad back there is telling you to throw the ball. There's a lot of stuff that goes into being a successful program. And if I can shed some light on that,
sure,
and kind of take the weight off of some of the coaches in the area and the student athletes, from some of the, the family members out there that think it's just a cakewalk. I hope that can work out. But again, I'm just going to be me. Take it or leave it. Hopefully you take it. And we're going to have some fun. I'm excited.
I love it, man. I'm so excited for the world to get to know you a little better, for me to get to know you a little better, and to share this special journey over the next, hopefully, 16 weeks with you as we get going. Sam Bellino, everybody. Welcome to the YSN family on behalf of all of us here at YSN. You'll hear him on Fridays, and I'm sure you'll see him all over YSN breaking down football and all kinds of sports here this coming fall. Sam Bellino, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
That's going to do it for the YSN Power Hour today. Tune in tomorrow. Some special guests as always. Scotty Mincher will join the show for the first time in a long time. I'm sure we're going to talk about the Browns. Sure, we're going to talk about the Steelers. And it's only going to be right here on Your Sports Network. Not Your Sports Network. I'll get that right. Got to get that right. On behalf of all of us at YSN, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow right here. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.